Welcome to yet another Minute Microscopy. I am Eric Rosenblatt, and today I'd like to ask you a question. Do you ever feel like you can't keep up financially? Like you have to work more and more as costs keep going up? Well, the main driving force behind that is likely to be one thing: inflation. Often called the hidden tax, inflation is insidious, creeping like a corrosion, slowly eating away at your wealth. So, what is inflation anyway? Well, essentially, it's a devaluation of a currency where over time the purchasing power per unit decreases. So, if your income remained exactly the same, over time you'd be able to afford less and less since the price of goods and services has increased. Clearly, inflation is especially harmful to lower or fixed income people. It also makes saving money mostly pointless, and saving money is critical to one's financial security. Well, as an example, let's say you put away $10,000 in 1990. In 2021, you'd only get about $5,000 worth of 90s purchasing power out of it. Though it would still be the same number of dollars you had, the amount of labor required to acquire 10 grand in 1990 was considerably more than it is today. And costs have roughly doubled in that time. So, why does inflation happen? Well, how much time do we have? In essence, it's a supply and demand thing. The more currency there is in circulation, the less value it has. And with few exceptions, the money supply has always increased. The Federal Reserve, the quasi-governmental organization that issues the currency here in the US, actually has it as policy to ensure continual moderate inflation. Why? Who knows? I mean, money is simply a store of value, be it labor or goods, with widespread acceptance for exchange. So why would anyone want an exchange medium that constantly loses purchasing power? Fractional reserve banking doesn't help matters either. It's far more complicated than that, though, since there are many factors influencing the value of currency as well as prices. Taxes, for instance, which in many cases can constitute probably like half the price of goods and services. And taxes, just like the money supply, always goes up. Another related thing is called hyperinflation. And that's basically a runaway money printing feedback loop exponentially increasing to compensate for previous exponential printing increases. And it always ends in disaster, with all your money being worthless. Just like that. Huh. But it hasn't happened here yet. What's the solution? Some would say we should force wages to increase to keep up. But I don't know if that's such a good idea. In general, median wages have followed inflation, although not quite so much as you approach the lower income levels. But arbitrarily raising wages is only a stopgap measure, as you'd have to continue the increases indefinitely. And there are unforeseen consequences there that I don't think people are considering. Economies are complex organic systems. You can't just turn a knob and have it work as expected. The seen and the unseen, you know? No, I'd say a far better, simpler, long-term solution is to simply not have inflation in the first place. Require the Federal Reserve to maintain a zero level inflation, or better yet, end the Fed. Go back to the gold standard and use currency by the Treasury and taxes too. In fact, get rid of the government.